Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 688 and Doubleshot number 594. Not 4, 92. Two DC trades. One is from DC Rebirth. The other one, it doesn't have the Rebirth logo on it. Let's first start with the one that has the DC Rebirth logo on it. New Superman, Volume 3, Equilibrium. Written by Gene Luen Yang and Marco Tamaki. Artwork by Brent Phillips and Billy Tan. I think that's it, correct? Oh, and Joe Lynch. Yep. The Richard Friend on here, yeah, he's actually the inker. The cover right here is done by Bernard Chang. Yeah, this is a great piece of artwork. What's the story for this one? First, this one picks up right where the last trade leaves off with Dr. Omen falling out a window in the building, revealing that, yeah, she is indeed the new Superman's mother. As for why in the world she's still young and smoking hot, well, they don't explain it here, and the series never brought us to explain that because just last month, this series ended. Yes, it ended after 24 issues. Oh, in case you wondered about the writer Marco Tamaki, what issue is she writing here? She writes the last issue in here, and that's issue number 19. Issues 13 and 18 definitely written by the regular writer. 19 is the only issue of the entire series that the regular writer does not write. Yep, as also pointed out though, starting issue 20, the series was retitled to New Superman and the Justice League of China, which got canceled 4 issues after that. I have no idea why in the world DC ended the series for, especially since it was reported last year the series was actually beating Superwoman in the sales. Yes, this series. And then for some reason they ended it. No idea why, but they ended it. Yep. So, after the whole thing of, well, revealing about Dr. Omen, new Superman's mother, she basically sort of depowers him, not the first time she does this, and then she wakes up in a jail cell because it's sort of a compliance thing, and then the Justice League of China takes a trip to Metropolis, and inadvertently decides to cause a bunch of property damage, and has a brief fight with the Justice League. Oh yeah, and I love it that, well, Superman remembers, new Superman, we have the Batman of China interacting with his American counterpart. Same thing with Wonder Woman of China interacting with her American counterpart. The female Flash from this group does interact with the Flash. Oh yeah, I should point out though, this character right here, the Chinese Flash, yeah, she's actually an American who moved over to China. Yep, she first appeared in Josh Williamson's first arc of his run, and I love the fact that the writer basically acknowledges that Barry trained her, which I thought was really nice. And Aquaman was wondering though, is there a Chinese counterpart to him? Technically there is an Asian counterpart, but he's not from China, he's from North Korea. I'm not kidding, he has a Korean Aquaman, though he does an appearance in the next story arc. Yeah, and the reason why they're here is because of I Chang. Those of you curious though, who in the world is I Chang? Why, he's a creation of Danny O'Neill during his very weird and bizarre run he had for Wonder Woman back in the 70s. Yeah, if you've ever seen this run, seen like pictures of Wonder Woman from this run, yeah, it's Wonder Woman wearing a white tracksuit with no powers, and she basically fights with martial arts. Yeah, it was a martial arts craze in the 70s, and it lasted for 4 years, it lasted for like half of the 70s, like the first half. And then eventually, they gave her back her powers with issue 200. This lasted from issue like 171, lasted about 200. I read all the issues. I don't think the era was bad. It was just so bizarre. Yeah, and it's a little surprising that the fact that I Chang was brought back here. Plus, they bring back a couple characters. I'm kind of like, wow, man, this has. Oh yeah, and also to point out though, there's even a Chinese version of Bane. I'm not kidding about that. There is a Chinese version of frickin' Bane. Let me show him off here. He is like one of the most shockingest things I have ever seen. I mean, come on, a Chinese version of Bane. And look, here he is. That's Chinese version of Bane. Oh, and what's this? It's the writer's homage to Nightfall. Will look like the Chinese Bane is about to break the Chinese Batman's back. But in a clear panel homage to that particular thing where Bane breaks Batman's back, instead we have instead of having the breaking the back thing, because the way this panel looks, it looks like the artist pulled this directly from Batman number 497 and changed it up where instead of his Chinese Batman's back being broken, the Chinese Superman punches the Chinese Bane in the face. He says, "Get punched in the face." I thought it was so hilarious. Oh, and turns out that this guy's actually an old rival of his from the academy that trained him. The main villain of this arc is the Emperor's Superman. Yeah, who tried to become the Emperor of China. Yep. And yeah, I'm gonna show off a character in here. Like, when you see this character and if you go on Wikipedia and you look up the Technicom, like, man, this image looks so. Oh yeah. I should also point out though, the Suicide Squad shows up here. Well, just 3 people from the Suicide Squad: Harley Quinn, Deadshot, and Killer Croc. As for why the heck they're here, oh yeah, and also the Great 10 shows up in here, along with China White. Yep, she's Chinese, so throw in the book, despite the fact she operates out of Hong Kong. Yeah, as for why she's here, no idea. Massive brawl, which I thought was really, really nice. They even have the Emperor Superman kind of turning into the Chinese Doomsday. Yeah, it's like they just went way overboard with the whole thing of, yeah. And also, I'm going to show this guy's face. When you see this guy's face, also, they even do like the art style goes back to the 1940s style of artwork, 1930s and 40s artwork. And plus, let's see, we also have Slim Brady show up. Yep, a guy who Eric Brubaker made a supporting character in the Catwoman run, who, get this, during that run, Slim Brady's son, Slim Brady Jr., had a one-night stand with Catwoman, and they got a daughter out of it, a.k.a. Helena Kyle, who later got adoption. Excuse me, here's a good picture of him. Those of you who have ever seen the first issue, the cover first issue of Tech Comics, and this is a Volume 1, number 1, not the one that came out in 2011. This Chinese guy right here. Yep, that's him. Yeah, it's not stated to be the same character, but yeah, when they first show him off, the cover, the panel is a clear homage to Detective Comics number 1. And it turns out his real name is actually All Yang. He's just an evil version of Ai Chang. Oh yeah, and they even gives the Chinese Superman his own black Superman suit. I'm like, okay, that's actually quite interesting, the fact that they gave him his own black Superman suit, something Superman had during Death of Superman. And that's only the first half of this. The rest of it is just basically them going to the U.S. and counting their American counterparts, basically the Justice League. And they also have, of course, Keenan also has another interaction with Lex Luthor, somebody he interacts with in the previous line for the series. And they steal like an object that unleashes demons, and then eventually at the end of the storyline, the Justice League China leaves the Mystery of Alliance, and it's like, okay, and of course Keenan's father, who actually is I think his name was the Great Dragon, he's the leader of the Chinese Freedom Fighters, and he says like he's leaving because he wanted his mother and his father basically both tell him this, that he's leading the Mystery of Alliance, and he's like, yeah, you gonna join the Freedom Fighters? Nope, we're going independent. And of course, the end of it, they reveal they form their own version, the Chinese version of the Green Lantern Corps. Not kidding about that. Issue 19 is basically Lena Lang, who is technically the Chinese version of Lois Lane. Yeah, that's what she is, though. She acts like a blogger for some reason, because that's basically where she is. The issue itself is written by Marco Tamakawa. It's a great issue, and it takes place right after Superman's, like not long after Superman, like it takes place between Volume 1 and 2. That's basically the good placement for this one. But this is by far really, really good. I can't wait to get the last volume, though that would be the end of this particular series because DC Access title, possibly due to low sales. But as for the reasoning for the end of this title, though the most popular reason is because the end of this title, because DC had no idea what Bendis' plans were for Superman. But I would think that this Superman would not affect the American. It would not affect the original Superman. It would affect this particular title. But no, no, yeah, I'm gonna give this book a 9.5 out of 10. I should point out that the most saddest thing about this character is that this character appears twice outside of his own comic book. Yes, twice. He appeared in the Superman Revenge of Superman storyline, which takes place right after Superman Reborn. He appeared there, and he also appeared in the Supergirl annual. And that's it. Those are his only appearances outside of his own comic book. In the case of the Chinese Flash, I mean, she appears occasionally in Flash outside of this comic book, but that's it. They're the only two who actually physically appear in the comic book. The Chinese Batman has no interactions with Batman. I mean, this is weird, though. You have the Chinese Superman who appears in the regular Superman's book, perfectly fine. And you have the Chinese Flash, who, even when she first appeared in Flash and moved over to this book, and then she occasionally appears in the Flash book, which I think is really nice. But here's kind of a slight problem. As for the other counterparts, like the Chinese Batman, does he appear in the Bat books? Nope, he does not. Same thing with the Chinese Wonder Woman, who is basically a snake woman. Yeah, and Chinese Batman's in love with her. Yeah, and she, of course, is in love with him as well, and they, of course, make out, and, of course, she turns fully back into her human form because she was stuck in her snake form, and then she's back to being in human form. Yeah. Sad to see the series go. I kind of wish the series... see, here's the thing about Marvel Comics that people love about Marvel Comics, that every single character appears in all these other characters' books. Like, you have Spider-Man appearing almost everywhere. You have Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur appearing in other books outside their own. Miss Marvel does the same thing. In the case of this character, he only appeared twice outside of his whole the entire time his whole comic book has been around. And I don't know what DC's plans are for this character, because at the end of this comic, I'm not sure what happens to the creative team. Because I think ending this title is stupid. Of course, that's my opinion anyways. Alright, moving on to The Flash, Volume 6, A Cold Day in Hell. Yeah, that's literally the name of this title of this trade. Written by Josh Williamson, artwork by Popman, Christian Deuce, and Howard Porter, along with Scott Nolan, Scott McDaniel, and Mick Gray. The cover art here is done by Barry Kitson and Hi-Fi. Yeah, this follows up what happens at the end of the previous storyline where Barry and Kristen, who was a CSI, works them. Yeah, they get transferred to Iron Heights to basically work as crime scene preservers. Yeah, preserving crime scenes so they work on the case. And the character Turbine, he gets killed. Now, it was suspected it's a trickster that was throwing him off. It turns out the person who actually killed him was Captain Cold. I was actually not that surprised the fact Captain Cold did that. Because here's kind of the thing. Not the first time I heard he actually has killed anybody. Because he killed the Top in the Rogues War storyline, which happened, that particular storyline ended Jeff Johns' awesome run for the book. Yep. And plus, it's nice to see Barry interacting with all his rogues in the storyline. Heck, this storyline, even at the end of the previous storyline, it brought back Godspeed. First time this character's been seen since the opening story arc. Also, and I thought this was really, really nice. This is one of the other storylines here. That Melina, the Flash's first girlfriend at the start of this run, she comes back. Yeah, they finally follow up with a plot thread that happened in issue 8. Didn't do anything into issue 20, and then after that, nothing until this very storyline. She gets back and she takes out the Negative Speed Force out of Barry, which has been inside of his body since the end of the Reverse Flash storyline, which happened a couple arcs back. And of course, the annual, of course, I just pointed out the trade that collects 34 to 38 of Flash Volume 5 and the annual. The annual is basically a guest star appearance by Wally West, which the whole point of this annual is to set up Flash War, which, by the way, is, I think it's about to wrap up pretty soon, which is an awesome storyline, by the way. Yep. And I love the fact that you have this story. Oh, yeah. By the way, this is, in case you're wondering, does this happen in the actual storyline? Nope. Barry does not use Captain Cold's cold gun. One thing I appreciate though for Rebirth is that Captain Cold's Alpha gained back his sleeves. Because if you ever read him in the New 52 books, they got rid of his sleeves. For some reason, even though it was common part of his attire since his debut. And then they made him sleeveless for the post-Flashpoint continuity. No idea why. And then for Rebirth, they put him back in this costume, at least for Barry. They kind of keep the Jim Lee costume with slight alterations here and there. But at least the only thing I think they changed about his attire is they got rid of the unnecessary lines on the attire. That's the only change they made to it. Otherwise, though, it looks like the same classic costume that he's had for years. But this is by far really, really good. I love the Flash. Flash is by far still one of the best titles of the past couple years. As a matter of fact, it's been good since its relaunch back in 2011. There's never been a bad. The only time I can think of this, basically kind of a low point of Flash's history is when Venditti was writing the book. Yeah. Oh, by the way, give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah. Venditti wrote a few different storylines for it. One involving the Dark Flash from the future, which was a murderer. Yeah, also introduced the second Wally West, the Blackbird, which, yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like about his run, was the fact that, now I was familiar with Wally West before I was reading DC Comics, thanks to him on the Justice League TV show, red hair, white, and the fact he was funny. The one that the Robert Venditti introduced was not funny, and he was a stereotypical black teenage punk. I have no idea why in the world that Venditti did this for. And there was a complaint that someone had against this version of Flash where not long after he was introduced, they automatically gave him his Speed-Force powers. Instead of developing this character a little bit more, give a little more time, no, let's just give him Speed-Force powers for absolutely no reason. And of course, at the end of that, he becomes Kid Flash, though he eventually gets recognized as Kid Flash at the start of this run. Though, I think it's really weird, though, that in the case of this particular era, oh yeah, I was also putting on here, in the Flash annual, they even show off the bridge that Wally West put together during Jeff Johns, where it connects Keystone City and Central City, which I thought was really, really nice. Also, there's a guest star appearance in that book by Nightwing, who apparently helped him get this apartment in Keystone City just so he can live there. And he says, oh yeah, Bruce leaves his platinum credit card laying in the Batcave all the time, so he figured, oh, why not use it? It's so funny, the fact that they did that. Yeah. Otherwise, though, that's really it for this particular review. Stay tuned for the next review, which is going to cover 2 more books. One I have reviewed in quite a while. I haven't reviewed one for this in like a little while. The other one, I just reviewed this one not too long ago. But this one will be the first one probably in a couple months of you any trades for this particular series. But you'll find out what it is in the next review. Okay? But to see you all there. Bye.